Okay, so for my opinion this week, with SmackDown going back to 3 hours in 2026, who should be called up to complete the SmackDown roster? Now, big changes are coming to Friday night. Starting January 2nd, SmackDown is expanding to a full 3 hour show. But here's the big question: what does WWE need to make those extra 60 minutes worth watching? The current roster is stacked with stars like Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and the likes. But a longer show means more depth, more stories, and fresh faces. So today we're diving into the blueprint for success. Who should WWE call up from NXT? Which divisions need reinforcements? And how to keep SmackDown feeling like the A show every single week that they say it can be. Let's break it down. So the tag division, no problem. SmackDown is loaded with at least six tag teams that can realistically chase the titles. But when you add an extra hour, you need more single stars and more women to keep things fresh. Right now, the men's main event scene is strong with Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre leading the charge. But the mid card needs new faces to avoid repetitive matchups. And the women's division, it's solid, although almost all of the main event players are involved in the tag team division. But adding a few breakout stars from NXT could make it elite. Let's start with the men's division and people that I would call up in the first month of the 3 hour episode of the 3 hour episode. Of course, this will weaken the NXT main event scene, but there are wrestlers there that are waiting for a chance to take the spotlight. All right, so let's talk about the men who need to make the jump from NXT to SmackDown to keep this new 3 hour format exciting. The tag division is already stacked, like I said, but if we really wanted to add one team, I would go with Hank and Tank, but there's no need for that. So this is all about singles depth and fresh faces. Here's my list and why each one matters. First up, Trick Williams. This guy is pure charisma. He's got the swagger, the confidence, and the athleticism to back it up. His promos already main roster level. Fans connect with him, and that's gold for a longer show. So why does SmackDown need him? Because a 3 hour show needs personalities that pop. Trigger Trick brings energy, star power, and that big fight feel every time he walks out. Next, and this one will surprise a lot of people, Josh Briggs, a big, hard-hitting brawler that with that rugged vibe. He's the guy. He's the kind of guy who brings physicality and credibility to the mid card. Why does SmackDown would need him? To balance out the roster with a powerhouse who can deliver those hard-hitting matches that break up the pace and keep the show from feeling too flashy. Then we've got Ethan Page. He's the current North American champion, so he'd have to relinquish that title before moving up. But trust me, he's worth it. Page is polished on the mic, confident in the ring, and versatile enough to work with anyone. So why does SmackDown need him? Because he's a natural heel who can instantly create compelling rivalries and elevate the mid card with his promo skills. Now let's talk about say his name and he appears, Joe Hendry. Okay, he didn't appear in my house. If you know, you know. His musical entrances, his charisma, this guy is entertainment personified. But don't let the fun fool you. He can wrestle. Why does SmackDown need him? For a 3 hour show, variety is a key. Hendry brings entertainment value without sacrificing credibility, making him perfect for segments that keeps fans engaged between big matches. Next up, Lexus King. But here's the twist. Rebrand him as Brian Pillman Jr. That name carries history and fans love a legacy story. He's got the look, the attitude, and a natural heel vibe. Why does SmackDown need him? Because a cocky antagonist with a famous name adds instant intrigue and gives a mid card a character driven edge. And finally, the big guy, Oba Femi. Now, I would not call Oba right now. I would wait for him to drop the NXT title to maybe Javon Evans or um, Tony D'Angelo, who just came back to NXT. So he's still holding the NXT championship. So timing matters. But when he drops the belt, call him up immediately. Oba is a monster, huge, athletic, dominant. And why does SmackDown need him? Every roster needs a true powerhouse, and Oba fits that role perfectly. He's a future main eventer who can be a credible threat to anyone from Drew McIntyre to Cody Rhodes. So that's the blueprint for the men's division. Trick Williams, Josh Bridge, Ethan Page, Joe Hendry, Brian Pillman Jr., and Oba Femi when the time is right. These guys bring charisma, size, and variety, everything SmackDown needs to make 3 hours fly by. Now let's talk about the women's division. SmackDown has some big names already: Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss. But for a 3 hour show, you need depth and variety. Here's how I'd bring up Here's who I'd bring up from NXT and beyond to make this division elite. First up, Jordan Grace. She's a powerhouse with a proven track record outside of WWE, and she's already made waves in NXT. Why does SmackDown need her? Because she brings legitimacy and strength to the division. Jordan can go toe to toe with anyone, and her presence instantly raises the level of competition. Next, Kalani Jordan. Athletic, flashy, and full of potential. She's the kind of performer who can deliver highlight reel moments every week. Why does SmackDown need her? Because she can add that high energy style that keeps fans engaged and gives the division a fresh, modern feel. Then we've got Fatal Influence as a whole, a trio made up of JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and Laney Reed. This group brings attitude, chemistry, and ready-made storyline. Why does SmackDown need them? Because adding a strong faction opens up new possibilities for the women's tag titles, multi-women feud, and faction-based storytelling that keeps things interesting. Looking ahead, not right now, but looking ahead, because I want them to feud at some point in NXT, and that's Sol Ruka and Zarya. They are destined to feud in NXT and not let that play out before calling them up, probably after WrestleMania. Why does SmackDown need them? Because Sol Ruka's innovative offense makes her a future star, and Zarya adds a unique presence. But if only one gets the call, it's Sol Ruka. She's a highlight machine and perfect for big stage moments. Zarya could then take the dominant spot in NXT before being called up herself in the future. So for the women's division, Jordan Grace, Kalani Jordan, fatal influence right now, with Sol Ruka and Zarya waiting in the wings. These additions give SmackDown the depth and diversity it needs for a 3 hour format. So there you have it. SmackDown is moving to 3 hours, and if WWE wants to keep fans hooked, they need to add depth and variety. For the men, Trick Williams, Josh Bridge, Ethan Page, Joe Hendry, and Brian Pillman Jr. are ready to make an impact, with Oba Femi waiting in the wings until he loses that NXT title. And for the women, Jordan Grace, Kalani Jordan, Fatal Influence, and in the near future, Solruka and Zarya. These call-ups give SmackDown the tools to stay fresh, exciting, and truly feel like the A show every Friday night. So what do you think? Who would you call up from NXT? Hit me up with your thoughts.